I'm sure we'll have people rolling in because it takes a while to get around at this conference. Wow, huh? I hope you wore your comfy shoes.
I did.
You did not, and you're suffering a little bit, I bet.
Well, they have a time limit. I'm good.
You're still good. I went to one last week and I opened it was local for me, so I opened my box and I had put in my high heels there. I'm like, okay, for the presentation, high heels. Today, too complicated. Flat shoes. So why don't we get started? See a few people coming in. Let's get these folks in the door. Hi, welcome. Hello, hello. Someone help me out. Are we at one?
Yes.
We are there. We're doing it. Okay, let's get this party started. My name is Dawn Monroe. I'm a certified Microsoft Office Specialist, Master Level. I've been teaching computer classes for about 25 years, and I work as an independent. I'm a freelance contractor. I teach business professionals. So I do have a relationship with my local school district, and I've been an adjunct at the local community college. I'm from Wichita, Kansas. Anybody else from the Midwest? Yeah, a few. Okay, welcome to everybody. So I want to talk about accessibility today. Who in here is having that conversation at your district? Yes. Do you feel a little overwhelmed by it? Yes, it is overwhelming. There is a lot going on with this. So what I want to say to you is, we don't know what we don't know. We may very well be breaking the law. It could be happening. The requirements have been evolving and changing through the years, started in the 70s with the Rehabilitation Act. And I'm not a lawyer, but things are changing, and we have to get accessible. By accessible, I want to define it for you right up front. So it is the design of everything. So, when we started adding the ramps, some of you are old enough to remember the adding of the ramps and the adding of the push buttons on the doors. We started getting more accessible to people with disabilities. What I'm asking you now is to consider, how can you be accessible with your documents, with your websites? The design of all that is very, very important. And you can control it. The more you do behind the scenes first, the better accessible your document will be. And what I mean is, people are using assistive technologies to access our documents and our websites, aren't they? So if someone's using a screen reader, what happens when they open your document? Okay, so some of you know you're a little bit in trouble with that, and I bet everybody has some things in here they can improve on. I'm still finding things I'm like, oh wow, I need to do that, and I've been studying this for a while. I went to a conference about 1.5 years ago, and what I found was they were talking about accessibility, but they weren't showing how to do it. And I thought, I do that every day. I know how to do that. I'm going to show people how to do that. And so that's when I started doing these proposals and getting out and talking about it. So you can't hide any longer. It is time to learn about accessibility. So I challenge you today to get out from under the newspaper or the rug or whatever here and start learning about accessibility. Because, look, I've got pizza up there. I love some pizza. You know who else loves pizza? the visually impaired, right? You go to the website, you go to the mobile device, can't order the pizza, can't get the web deal. Domino's has been in a huge lawsuit over this, humongous. Okay, here's another one. Beyonce, someone went to her website, they could not figure out what the pictures were because nobody had put alternative text with the photos on her website. So she's getting sued. Okay, it's happening at the university level. Universities are getting sued. There's a chance to lose funding depending on how that goes. There's a lot of active lawsuits right now. There are certain states that are having a lot of issue with that. So you see I'm in a slideshow now. We're not going to stay here. I'm going to wrap slideshow up in about 5 minutes, and then we're going to do stuff. Okay? So, all right, what else do I have here? Oh, I have the slide about these are how lawsuits have jumped from 2017 to 2018. We probably already met that in 2019. Lawsuits, lawsuits, lawsuits. Okay. So thinking about, this is internal and external. You have people working in your districts. You have people that are attending your districts that need accessible components. They need access to your websites and your documents. So let's talk about some of those. Okay, quick overview and then we'll dive in. So when you put in a link in your document or your email or your PowerPoint, it looks like this, right? A screen reading device will read that HTTP, the whole thing letter by letter. Horrible. Can you imagine that? Some of our links are so long. So what I want you to start thinking about is putting in your links with descriptive text. So what I'm showing here, and we'll get in and do it here in a bit, there I've got the link that it would read letter by letter above. Don't do that anymore. Even in an email, you can correct this so easily. Do an insert link and put real text in there that a screen reader can read. It's going to say website or web link, or depending on what the screen reader product is, it's going to announce that it's a link and then read what text you put in there. Okay. A couple other things we want to talk about. So graphics and visuals. This is like I said with Beyonce's pictures. If no one has described those, a screen reader gets to it and skips it or says no. You don't want your students that are with low vision to run into problems like that. So anything that you put in that's a visual, like a picture, you're going to pull up this alternate text box and you're just going to describe it. Describe it to someone like you're talking on the phone and they can't see it at all. Okay? Short and to the point. It doesn't have to be long. Describe what the chart says. Describe what the table says. Describe the shape or the clip art, whatever you've put in there. Okay? Color is a big deal in accessibility. We want high contrasting colors. How many of you have been sitting in presentations, hopefully not this week, but where you're at the back of the room and you cannot see it because they use bad colors? They did something maybe like, look at the top that I did. They're two identical tables. The top one I did light blue background and a yellowy, creamy, you can't see it at all. And it's surprising how many people will do things like this. So we want high contrasting colors. I'm going to show you some cool things with colors today. I've gotten a little flack talking about this. I'm just going to tell you what the recommendation is. I'm not telling you you can never use a serif font. I had an angry mob one day. They really like their serif font. So a serif font is the kind with the little curly Q on it. And that can be easier for sighted people to read because it kind of flows letter to letter. It is difficult for those with dyslexia. It is also a little trickier for people that are in the back of a room during a presentation or a class. The recommended for accessibility is to use sans serif fonts, the ones without the curly cues. So this is like your Arial font, okay, basic straight font. But you can do what you need to do, just make it giant. Like a rule of thumb would be an inch high for every 10 feet, but this is a huge, long room, so we really need big text in a room like this to be able to see. But you should be aware of it, what it is in your classroom, and how big that needs to be sitting at the back of the room. When you create tables, this happens to be a picture from Excel, but it could be, I talk about Microsoft products a lot, but I love Google products too. This could be in your Google Sheets. This could be a table you've created in Word or in PowerPoint. Use real words for the titles of those headings. Please, none of your crazy abbreviations that no one understands but you. Use real words, because if I put FSTNM for first name, let's just say, as a sighted person, you probably kind of fill in those letters when you look at it and it makes sense. But to a screen reader, that might come out letter by letter, and it might be a little dicey if they figure out what it is. So just use real words in the headings. A couple other things with tables and with using Excel. You don't want to merge cells. I know we love that merge cells now that we finally found it on the Excel. So there you see on my red example at the top, my address list. Hope you can read that okay. But the my address list, the very top line, I selected all those cells and I merged them into one big cell. It's probably going to be okay if I send this to somebody. It would probably read that and move on to the next row. But what's going to happen is if I did a lot of that, merging and splitting cells, I'm probably going to end up with a problem. It will not know which direction to read things if I do a lot of that. So I want to make super simple tables and columns and headers. So that's what I've got there on the bottom, and you can see that I've used real words for those headings. So keep it as simple as you can. Sheet tabs, the same rule would apply. This is like, who reads a book on Kindle? A few of you, yeah. So you go into a different chapter, you want to go back to table of contents, you are navigating around that digital document. Let's give them something to navigate around too. Use real words on your tabs, sheet tabs. It helps people. This one's interesting. Did you know that you could use transition effects like strobe kind of effects, flashing kind of things, that actually trigger seizures in some people? It's actually a big deal. So if you knowingly have someone in your room with a seizure disorder, certainly you want to keep it very calm. And even so, unknowingly, I keep mine pretty calm anyway. I just reveal to the next slide. I just don't want to distract with that. Now, a lot of you have probably found it. I found the accessibility checker in Microsoft Word or Excel. Anybody tried it yet? Yeah, great, okay. So keep using that. We want to develop a habit like spell check so that when we finish working on a document, and we could still be sending it to a PDF format or whatever, you get it as good as you can in the base format that you're using. So if you're creating it in Word or Google Docs, make it as clean and nice as you can, and then save it to a PDF. You'll have the best result that way. So they have something called Check Accessibility. There's a button. And then when I run it, it actually comes up with a list like this. Showed you on the left. And you can click the little triangles there, and you can see it actually will take you to that item and you can fix it right there. As you fix them, they leave the list. So when you've worked through the list, you are good to go. A couple other points and then we'll move on out of here. Have you ever been filling out a form on the internet and you go tab, 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 and then it jumps way down out of order, and then you have to come back up to where you were, and it starts, tabbing doesn't work. Someone has not gone to the effort to organize the order of the pieces of that document or website. This is super important, and it's not that hard to do. Somebody just has to be aware of it and look at it before they put it out. This is going to be especially important in something like a PowerPoint, how it reads each slide and that information, but in all kinds of things, Word documents and forms. Okay, so closed captioning, it's so nice to have this. The statistic is 85% of us view Facebook videos with the sound off. It's true. I don't want to turn it on. If the closed captioning is there, I'm much more likely to hang out and see what that video is all about. Because sometimes you're in the dentist office or whatever, you just don't want to turn it on, right? It's not the right place. So if you're making videos, I would recommend that you figure out how to do the closed captioning. It'll do an auto closed captioning in YouTube if you upload it there. And then you better tweak it. As I tell you, I've had a couple things that didn't go well, and I'm glad I looked at them before I put them out. Okay, these are a few of my favorite buttons. If you want to take a picture, this is probably a good slide to take a picture. These are my favorite buttons that I've customized in my Microsoft Office world that have to do with accessibility. All of these programs have a check accessibility. They all have an alt text. You're seeing one of my new favorite ones right now. I am using PowerPoint's live subtitles. Isn't that awesome? When I change over to the actual programs, we're going to lose those, but I wanted to demo it today. I'm so glad they're working and that you can see them. It's way behind. I talk fast, I guess. Anyway, so I'm going to show you how to customize and add some things. I'll show you how you can speak cells and turn on the text. Dictate is great if you write a blog. Why not dictate it out and then have it read it back to you? You can hear how your own writing sounds. Isn't that awesome? Right? Just turn it on and do something else and listen to it, and you'll figure out, what do I need to tweak in that writing? What sounds off? Okay, my friends. So, sometimes we don't know we're breaking the law. We're going to go figure it out right now. You're not going to jail, but let's at least get you, you could get sued. So we want you to be in order here. So, let me get out of this. I've already got stuff open. Sorry, you're going to lose those captions. Shall we start with Word? So one of the first things I like to show in Word, there's a sample of the hyperlinking. If you have never ever done this before, I've got a link of the conference website. So if I jump over and I select the link of the conference website, and I do my Control-C to copy it. And I want to go back into the document and use that. Most of the time, I would do something like this, right? Let me make it nice and big so you can for sure see it. So I'm there on a line in my Word, and I'll paste it, and I get that ugly link that the screen reader would read, https://. So instead, what I would do is go to Insert, Links. Now here's something with the older versions. If your school is still using 2010 or 2013 Office software, that's fine. It still works. It might say hyperlink insert hyperlink, you might see. Okay. Usually it looks like kind of a linked chain. You're also going to have this if you're in your Google Docs. So here I'm going to go. So there it is, insert link. Mine's kind of smushed on the screen, so I'm going on into the link option. And I get a box like this that will actually do a lot of cool things. What I'm doing is up at the top, I'm going to put in real text. And to be simple, we're just going to do ISTE 2019 conference. And then I put the ugly part down on the bottom here. Now don't worry about the stuff in the middle. This feature will actually jump into another file, but it will jump to a web page, is what we're setting up here. You can also have it jump to a place in the document, create new documents, and even jump to an email address. Have you ever clicked on a contact us or something like that, and it actually opens up email and fills it in for you? So that's what you can do here. If you do the insert email address, it will activate your, if you are in Office, it'll activate your Outlook. There's something else too. There's a little screen tip. Sometimes I fill those out. It's at the top right corner there. And again, I'll just type that ISTE 2019 conference and OK. And OK. Now both of those are live links, but I would sure rather see the lower one that is with nice text, and I know a screen reader is going to pick it up. You can do this in your emails and everything that you work in. Okay. Any questions for me so far? I'll just zoom on through. Let's keep going. Now you may notice in my document, I'll zoom it out a little bit, that I put in, there's like a title, and where I put hyperlinks, where I put headings and styles, and then a bulleted list, that is actually a heading 1 style. And what I'm doing there is setting up my document so someone could navigate it like chapters in Kindle, right? There's a lot of cool features that come when I start using headings. So this is one. It becomes a little collapsible section when I do that. And the way I'm doing that, let me show. I'm going into the Home tab. I'm selecting what it is that I want, and I'm using the Styles group. Heading 1, sub is a heading 2. Below that would be a heading level 3. Great for book writers, people setting up manuals. I want you to start doing this because it has all kinds of built-in features when you start using heading styles. Who in here has tried to make a manual table of contents and try to put in the page numbers? Okay, see some hands. And then somebody gave you some more content that goes right in the beginning, and everything else shifted. And then you gotta go back and fix the table of contents. Okay, you're about to fall in love with me. Hang on. So I've turned on that heading 1. I'm just going to jump down at the bottom of my document and show you this little bit of awesomeness that is connected to the headings. Oh, I don't want the style on there. Let me do this. Hang on. Should have left myself a little spot there. Okay. Clearing the styles there. So, okay, if I want to, that's on References tab, Table of Contents. You can do automatic Table of Contents when you use heading styles. Stay with me. I just click it, and there it is. And the beautiful thing, it becomes a big giant field. And if my page numbering changes, all I have to do is right-click it and say, hey, update that field. Let's see it. Let me put in, I'll just put in a page break there. Let's go right in front of visuals and insert a break. Okay. Now, it didn't change here. But when I do, I right-click on it and update field, update everything. Okay, there I see now my visuals has pushed down to page 2. So it's one of the great things about headings, and it's accessible. Let's look what else it can do. If you're using Word, you can jump to the View tab. The View tab has a thing called the navigation pane we can turn on. It's a little checkbox. It's kind of in the center. I am using Office 365, and that means I have a subscription account, and I'm getting the latest and greatest new stuff as it rolls out. What we used to do is buy the package, and we would load it on the computer, and it was there like that until we got the new package and upgraded, right? Now we get the subscription, we get new buttons all the time. I have walked into a classroom situation, I turn on my computer, look what's new, and I'm teaching it that day. So I'm like, well, we're just gonna roll with the new stuff. Okay, so navigation pane, I'm turning it on, and I wanted to show you that it allows you to navigate. You can jump by those hot heading ones. You see how I'm jumping the document using that? How great is that? Now, in a small document, this is not a big deal. You could scroll up and down. Let's say you've got 25 pages, 50 pages. Some of you have to do manuals and stuff. It's a great tool. So start thinking about using headings and styles, play around with it, good stuff. Okay, so here we have a little table. I'm going to tell you, try a little bit to avoid tables in documents that you want to be accessible. This is another one of those, like in Excel. Be careful with the merging of the cells and the columns and things like that. It gets a little bit messy. You can do things that I think are nice for visually impaired, is to add things like captions on the tables or the pictures. There from the, let's see, the references, you can insert a caption, and you see I've inserted table 1 and I've titled it, and that's another way that people can navigate around your document a little easier with things like that. Now, pictures are a big deal. If I am working with pictures, visuals of any kind, I want to avoid things that float. You probably just figured out how to wrap text and move the picture, I know. And it was a wonderful day when you picked up that skill to move that picture around freely. You were so glad you learned it. To make a document accessible, we want pictures in line. In line so that the screen reader reads it in the order that you intended. Text boxes get skipped, so if you drew a fun little text box or a sidebar in there, it may not translate when you are using screen reader. I'm going to right click on this picture. In all of the programs, just do a right click on any visual, and there you're going to have alternate text. A box like this come up, and this would be a yellow daylily, something like that. Just as if you're describing it to someone. Keep it simple. You don't have to write an image of. Just start it, whatever it is. If it's just decorative, sometimes like on PowerPoint, you just have a curly Q or a bar or something like that. You can just click the mark as decorative. In the latest version, I'm seeing that it actually gives me help on that thing that's a problem, so that's very nice. It tells you a little bit. I also have a bar on the status bar at the bottom here. I've got a few things turned on. It's giving me information. If I right-click on that bar, oh my gosh, there's a lot on there. But these are things I can turn on to display on that status bar. And one of the newer ones is Accessibility Checker. So if you have Office 365, you'll see that on yours too. And you can get in there. It's warning me either that I'm good to go or I need to investigate. And that's kind of keeping me in track as I go. If I need to turn it on, you could click it like I just did there. A couple ways to get to it. It's going to be on the Review tab. There's that Check Accessibility. There's the Read Aloud. Let's do it. Let's see how it plays in here. It may just be through my computer speaker. Let's see. That's no fun. Okay, so try that on your own. It's not working on mine at the moment, probably with all the things I have plugged in there. But it's a great, great tool that you should be able to access, a Read Aloud feature. Try that on your own, on your Word. Or it's got this whole immersive reader thing they're very big into right now, where everything you can read aloud. Okay, let's see. Any questions in Word? Oh, if you are a fan of the text box, here's a little fakey text box that I did. I actually just took a sentence. This is what I had to practice typing in high school, so it's always my practice sentence. Now is the time for all good men to come to their aid of their country. Instead of drawing a box like insert and actually draw a text box from here, I just typed it in like normal, and then from the Home tab, I actually was able to select that paragraph, and I could change the fill color on the paragraph. And I could change the border on the actual paragraph. And it kind of makes a little text box, doesn't it? So that's a cheater way that keeps it in line with text, and it looks a little cooler and can make it stand out. Let's see if my dictate will work. I think it will, because the microphone was picking up fine for my other stuff. It's got a bunch of languages in there, so mine is set to English. I'm going to just turn on dictate. Let's see if it picks it up. Now is, oh yeah, here it goes. Now is the time for all good men to come to their aid of their country. Super easy. Sometimes we may have a student that has some form of disability where it's difficult to type. This could be a wonderful tool for them. Just remember it's in there. Okay. I'm going to jump over to PowerPoint. I made a little sample one here. And I talked about it, but I didn't actually run it in Word. Let's run it here. If I go to Review, there's that Check Accessibility. It's also always going to be under File, Info, and Check for Issues. There's Check Accessibility. There's other ways to get to it, but those are probably the main. And I made mistakes on this on purpose so you could see what it was like. Missing alternate text. So you see that I've used the little arrow there to open that up. Sorry, I can't make that part any bigger. Here is a chart that I want to fix up a little bit, and I might want to describe more about that chart. Charts are kind of a special beast as well. I'm actually going to look at the chart design. How could I help make this accessible to someone? I could change the layout so that it is, that it shows actually the, and this is way too small for this environment, but you can actually show the data below. That would be a great fix for this kind of chart, to show change the layout so you actually show the data points below. So somebody could actually go through a table like that too. You could also select the actual chart by clicking on the edge of it, and you can add alternate text to the chart. So you can describe the high and the low and what is the chart saying. Add alternate text to the chart. just put something there, so we'll move on from it. There's also, here's another one. Here's something I put in the graphic for the ISTE, and that is just a graphic. If I wanted to, I can just select in the alternate text. A right click would bring it up if you didn't see it. And then you can come up here and type in ISTE 2019 conference. Here I come. As you fix them, they leave the accessibility checker list. Let's go take a look at this one. The slide 2, they're worried about the titles. Now the titles, you can tell if you switch your view in a PowerPoint from the normal view into that outline view, you can see that there are missing titles there on that left edge. So a missing title is a bad deal in PowerPoint because it doesn't know what chapter or what heading. You got to have that descriptive title on the slide, even if I don't display it here, if all I wanted to do is have the graphic. So I'll show you, a lot of times people will take a slide when they do a new slide. You know, when you do a new slide, you get these different content placeholders. I'll just pick something. So you get a title, and then you get the different content areas. If you want your slides to be accessible, you should start with the layout that's closest to what you want, because it reads the title and the content placeholders first. But a lot of people just draw in their own stuff and ignore these and whatever. So what I'm saying is that one that doesn't have a title and it looks like someone just deleted it out of there, it's not even showing up, you can always reset the layout. There's a little reset on that home tab in that slide groups. You can reset it, and there it takes my graphic. It made it smaller. Here I come. And then if I wanted to, I don't have to have that displaying, and I'll show you how you turn that off if that's important to you. I'm also seeing something that concerns me here, that font is not very big. I need to have it much bigger to be accessible in here. So who in here has experimented with the slide master view in PowerPoint? It's like the devil, isn't it? It's the Bermuda Triangle of PowerPoint. You get in there, you don't know how to get out, you don't know how to fix it. Well, I'm here to help you. If I want to go to see that, you can go to view the slide master. What this does is it takes you behind the scenes to see how your slide is set up. And you'll see that each of those cool layouts, when I just did an insert new slide, all the layouts start back here in the slide master. This is where I put the logo on to repeat on every slide. This is how, if you get a slideshow from somebody, a template someone set up, and you can't move something or get rid of it, they put it back here. So it's good for you to know to go into the slide master, and you can do things like there's that I rolled all the way to the top. It brought me in on the one that I was actually on. I'm going to try to make that a little bigger there. You see how it's a hierarchy? There's like a master, and then these are all the different layouts under it. What's cool is on the initial master one, I can make a change there. Like, let's change the font. Let's bump it up, bold and bigger. Okay? It actually, that top one controls all of the other ones under it. So I fix it once, and my whole show fixes. You with me? Yes. Okay. So let's say also, just for kicks since we're here, and I bet you'd like to learn it, so I can go insert, let's do a logo. Let's see, did I put, I'm sure I've got it here, let me grab it. Let's let's just grab that one. There we go. So if I want that little guy to be in the corner of all of my stuff, then I just set it on the top in the master, and all the other views of it have it on there. And then you get to choose on each individual slide if you want to show those or not. You can actually get in behind the scenes and say, I don't want to see that background stuff on this slide. Doesn't make sense on this slide. Now here's the Bermuda Triangle. You are in a slide master. You're getting a special ribbon just for that, aren't you? So you get over here and then you're like, how do I get back? I lost my whole show. You've been lost in here before, I know, because I've done it. Okay, that's how you learn, the hard way. When you need to get out of there, you got to go back to the Slide Master tab on the ribbon, and you have to close the master view, and then you're back in your show, and that bigger, bolder heading is showing up on the slides that I've added that to, and any new slides would pick up that font change as well, and the little logo.
You do the alt text in the master slide, that's going to apply to all the subsequent slides?
Okay, so yes, so that's an interesting, if that background thing even gets picked up in an accessible, if you saved it as a PDF, it may not even pick it up, but yes, that's a great point. So if I wanted to make sure, since we are talking accessibility, I need to add alt text to that. And so I would go back to View, Slide Master. I'm fixing it on the top layer, right? The very top one. Right click and edit the alt text. Let's do 2019 Philadelphia icon. It might pick it up just as decorative since I'm putting it back here. But it's good to go ahead and do it. I think it's a great policy to do it. Okay, so what else are we missing? Oh, this one is just coming up because I haven't entered one yet. Okay, we got a problem. Then the captioning. If you are putting in a video, first off, I feel like I need to show you how to put in a video right. Have you been in the, I know you have. You've been in the presentation and then someone goes and messes over on the internet because they didn't know how to link the video into the show. Okay, so if you go ahead and if you find that video that you want, let's just jump to YouTube, we'll pull one up. We'll go pull one of my nerdy videos. So I'll go pull a video of some kind of topic. Okay, we'll do something from Excel, and we'll share it. We'll get the link and copy. I'm glad we're not hearing it. Okay, so then I'm in a PowerPoint and I want to add that in. So I usually would use like a title and content, and you can select the area, the content box you want to put it in. And go to Insert is how you do this correctly. There's your video link. You can use the little video link here, but I think that one only goes to a file. So if you had it saved on your computer, you could do it that way. I'll just do the online video from here. And I'll just put in the website address. That's your best policy. And then you get video tools on there for how it plays it back. And you can make it so that it starts automatically when you get to that slide in the show. So you don't have to go out to the internet at all when you do this. Another thing is, and I'm going to jump to this one because I don't know, not all of my videos have the closed captioning, but this one does. When you start running one, and of course I'm in the design of it, not running the actual PowerPoint. Let me make that bigger. Get rid of that. And make that smaller. Down here, when you are actually running a video, you can turn on the CC, the closed captioning, right here. And if it has closed captioning with it, it will turn on for you. So even if you're not using your own, that you've not added closed captioning, you want to look for that when you're choosing something suitable for your students in your classroom. Any questions for me in the PowerPoint world? Okay, I'm going to jump to Excel then. Okay. So my first tab in Excel talks about the same thing we did earlier in Word. I've taken a link, and it's the exact same way where I want to do the insert link. Or some people type the text first and then do a right click and insert link. Either way is fine. Insert link looks the same in here. It's even coming up with recent links, but I want you to go all the way in there to see it. So text to display, I forget which Excel video I grabbed, but it's an Excel instruction video, and the address is there. Okay, so same thing here. I talked a little bit about colors earlier on my slide. You can see the bad colors that I had here. Anybody tried out the color contrast analyzers online? Anybody tried that? I've got a few hands. Okay, so a color contrast analyzer, on my handout link, you'll find that I linked you to one by the Paciello group. Paciello, I don't know how to say it right. There's another one, WebAIM, and you can actually, on the Paciello one, you can use a little eyedropper and pick up the foreground and the background color, and it tells you whether you pass or fail as far as contrast. So as teachers, we can relate to that, right? It's looking at the WCAG standards, and so it's a single A or a double A or a triple A is the highest, best that you can get. You want to get to a triple A standard, and that again, that is WebAIM has one of those, and the Paciello group. Now, as far as colors inside of Excel, you could look at the let's see, page layout in the Excel world, and there is themes, color themes. This is where it picks up colors for your charts and for your font colors, and you get to pick the theme. The theme is a combination of colors, fonts, and effects. Effects are like the bubbly look on a chart or whatever you might pick. You can actually customize all of this, so think how cool it would be if someone set up the theme of the colors and the favorite fonts of the school, and everybody used it. And then your Word matches your PowerPoint, matches your Excel. Okay. The way it works is that you can jump into the color group there. There's a little drop down. This is in all the programs. And you pick a color set that is the most like what you want. And I pick it. But then I go back in and jump to the bottom. There's a customized colors, and it takes that color set I just chose, and I can, you see at the bottom, give it a little custom name. I picked greens, let's call it Shamrock. And then I get to actually pick the exact shade of whatever it is for each of those elements. And this is a little screen look picture how it would be. But it would be really fun to do this. I teach mostly business professionals, so I tell them just set one up in your company colors. You could share it on the network once you've got it built, your IT person, and put it in the right spot so everybody can find it. And then save. And then what's neat then is anywhere that you go that uses colors, those color sets come up first. And you can pick from this. This is actually kind of nice for people that have color blindness because they know that these coordinate, first of all. So that's something nice. You also see that I set this up, this bottom part, it's set up as a table. If you go to insert tables or use the format as table from the home tab, you'll see that you get these cool things that have that every other color. Have you ever tried to do the formatting, this row, skip a row, this row, skip a row, and then someone gives you new data and everything has to shift and you have to go in and redo it. Manual's horrible for that. Don't do that. This is a little table setup, and when you set up the table using one of those fun styles, then you actually can turn on and off that banded rows. It's called banded rows, and you can turn it on and off. And as you move around and change data, it fixes it automatically. So I love that. I love, love, love. I love things that make my world simpler. Okay. Somebody asked me just last week, Dawn, are all those looks in the table design styles, are those all accessible? Well, no, they're not. I mean, you've got to use your common sense. I mean, not everything is set up in here for accessibility. I think over time they're going to get better and better with that. But certainly you could have some that are going to be too light or not work well for your group. But like that one's really great. I love that contrast on that one. So you experiment, and like I said, you can try one of those color contrast checkers to double check yourself. Okay, colors, and then headings. I said in the slideshow earlier, no on the merged. If you've got something merged, let's unmerge cells. Use real names. People asked me last week, like here my sample, I put FST and then I moved down a cell and put name. Now depending how the screen reader's reading, is it going this way or is it going this way? So that could be a problem by rows or columns. So what I would say is put the whole thing in one cell, that is the name. If you want it narrower, let's try the wrap text feature, where we wrap the text so it's nice and tight in there. If the column is narrowed, it would wrap it down onto another row but within the same cell. So consider a wrap text would be good. That would be accessible. Got some samples in here. Again, alt text. That's just an image, so right click to alt text. Charts can be tricky. I want you to think about what would show up. Now, I saw somebody do an example last week, and I included an article, a blog she'd written about it, because I thought she was really insightful about this, that certain color sets of the chart may just not work well for the colorblind or different visibility issues. You can go in and change. A lot of times a monochromatic looks better because when it goes to grayscale, it actually still shows a differentiation. You could see that even if you were colorblind. So think about that. I know, not as pretty. We're pretty, but it depends on your world and what's coming down in your world. Same thing here. I'm going to blow that one up so you can see a little bit better. I was trying to show you on the PowerPoint, but here I've got a chart. It's actually the same chart I copied in there. And what I'm saying is you might want to do one of these layouts that actually puts the data down there in the chart and also describe the thing. You click on the border of the chart, it's like a picture, and actually describe it. Okay, I see I'm at 5 minutes, so customize. I want you to learn how to customize that top little row of tools, top left corner of any of your windows. Word, Excel, PowerPoint, it has the quick access toolbar. You can get into the more commands from the little drop down at the end of that list. I've got a lot of them up there, so my little arrows pushed over. But you go down to more commands. You can add all kinds of buttons, and some of the buttons that I found that are so cool, if I want a quick way to get to the accessibility checker or the alt text. If you don't see it in there, you drop that open and go to all commands. There are hundreds. Speak cells. If you turn on speak cells, you want to also turn on the partner stop speaking cells. And then there's a by columns or by rows. There's also one that will speak cells as you do entering. It will read what you just put into the cell. So some really cool stuff. Okay. The way it works is you pick a button and then you add it over, and then these little buttons will move them up and down, which is actually your left to right on the quick access toolbar. And you customize each of the programs in that way. You get to pick what you put on there and then what order it's in. And I also love that you can right-click. Let me go to review. You can right-click on any tool on the ribbon and add it to the quick access toolbar. Fantastic. I've just left a couple minutes here. What questions do you have for me? I hope you picked up some new stuff from me today. Did you learn something? Yes, wonderful. So let me just put that out there. I left some cards and stuff out here. I loved getting contacted. I like LinkedIn. I'm not a Twitter girl. I like LinkedIn, so you can connect on LinkedIn. I share a lot of articles. Whoops, I got the wrong slideshow. Let me get the right one. And also, please remember, if you enjoyed this session, and I hope you did, you can get connected to me. There's my website and stuff. And those cards are back there on the table, or I pass some out. And don't forget, you've got 2 ways to do the feedback. I shorten their paragraphs if you've already seen the slide. You can do it from your app, or you can do it from the web. And just take care of those feedbacks for your speakers. And I thank you.